Hey everybody, so today I'm going to show you how to paint your book if you want to have some painted pages. So I'm going to start off, I am painting this book here, Breath of Frost. And I've already mixed up my colors and I am ready to go. So I've got the top weighted down. And the book is all wrapped up, so it's already safe from the paint. One of the important things is to take just a little bit of paint on your brush at a time. Because you don't want it to be very thick. But you also don't want any gaps, so you're making sure that you're getting every little nook and cranny and not leaving any spots out, because that will not look very good after. Any spots that you miss will be even more noticeable after the paint dries. Also in certain lightings it is, so what I like to do a lot of the time is use a flashlight and shine it on the book while I paint it to make sure that I'm getting every little piece. But right now I'm not using a flashlight because I use my phone for a flashlight and I also use my phone to record. And don't mind if you hear my bunnies, they are running around the library right now having a grand old time trying to chew on stuff. Don't worry though, I don't think they will chew on any of the books. If you are concerned for the safety of the books, they like to lay on the bottom bookshelves, but other than that, they won't really. Oh, as she chews on the, oh no, that's not a book. Okay, never mind, she's fine. Alright, so I'm just going to turn it now. And I've got weights on the top of the books also because they help to make it so that the pages stay firmly pressed together so the paint doesn't get in between. And the edges is something that is very tricky to get. So I like to start with the edges since it's so tricky to get them, so that way I know they're done. And I kind of work my way around that way. And I also like to make sure the tops and the bottoms get done first. Because especially when you've mixed up a custom color like this, it gets a little bit frustrating if you run out of color. So you want to make sure you've got some extra if you're doing a custom color. This one here, I'm going for like a, I don't know, like a very light turquoise, I guess maybe is a way to word it. I don't really even know what this color is. I just know it's the color I was going for. And hopefully it looks as good with the cover as I'm thinking it will, because it should perfectly match the breath of air that she's letting out, although the breath of air does have like a mix of colors in it. This is just one of the colors that really stood out to me that's in there. So I wanted to match that. I think deciding on a color is the most important part, other than, you know, the preparation of the book to make sure you don't get paint all over the book. I guess the whole thing is a very important part, but if you've gone through all the trouble to do all of this and then the color that you chose doesn't even go well with the book, then that has just been a supreme waste of your time. So I think it is very important to make sure you've got the right color, something that's really just going to complement the book. And I've got to say, I do really like the ones that I've done that are like special, like ones that are like blends of colors or like designs or whatever. But there's something nice about the simplicity of a solid color that I just really like. Alright, so without my flashlight, it is a little bit hard to tell, but I believe, oh no, I have missed one piece. There, that looks a little bit like it could use some extra paint too. Alright, so I'm just going to rotate it to do the final side. Oh, a piece of the tinfoil just broke off. Okay. And I'm just going to adjust my weight so it's as close to the edge I'm working on as possible. And the stack of books that I have underneath the book I'm working on is just to make it so it's at a better level for me. Because this will make your back hurt if you do it for long enough. Like if you do more than one in a row. Or just if you spend a lot of time working on one particular one. Like if you're doing some detail work or something on it. Or if it's just a particularly tricky book, you're just taking your time with it. Your back will start to hurt a little bit. I like to wiggle it around a little bit to try to get that extra little edge. So the whole thing is coated. There we go. When you start to get towards the very end of it, I start to get really excited about how it's going to turn out and starting to wonder, but it is important that even when it's done, you let it dry all the way before you try to move it or do anything with it. Well, I guess you could move it over, but I like to just let it sit there so it can dry fully before I do anything with it. Just to give it the best odds at turning out well. There we go. Let's see, are there any spots? Yeah. And that looks like a stray piece. Alrighty, there. And I think it is done. So I'm just going to let this dry and then we'll see how it turned out. Hello. So now the book is all dry, so it's time to see how it turned out. So we've got it right here and it's all wrapped up still, so I'm just gonna unwrap it quick. And take all the tin foil and tape off to see what we've got underneath. It's kind of like opening a present, but you know what you're getting, kind of. Not 100% sure of the final, like, product of it. All right, let me just take off the tape too. Oh, nice. This one's got probably the cleanest edges of all the ones I've done so far, which is exciting. I want to be able to show you guys this as I'm peeling it off, but I don't think we can really make the angle work so I can see it and you can see it. And the bunnies are running around, happy as ever. They're very excited to see how the book turns out, I'm sure. That's what has them so excited, I bet. Ooh, oh no. I ripped a little bit of the page off. Okay, it's not even noticeable, it's okay. It's always scary when something like that happens. Okay, there we go. So, as you can see in here, I'll just show you. It gets clean edges around. Right there's the piece where it ripped a little bit of the book. But nothing too noticeable, just a little bit. But there's no paint around the edges at all, so that is exciting when that happens. Sometimes you get some paint around the edges, but if you do it perfectly, there should be no paint around the whole thing, and the pages shouldn't rip. Okay, and I've just slipped the cover on there, so we've got, this is the cover, and this is the page. So you can see I matched the page to the breath. And then I'm just going to, and I don't know if you can tell, but I made it so that it's almost like a marble pattern for the color. So it's almost totally the same color, but there's a little bit of swirl of lighter and darker blue in there. It's mostly the same color though. So then I'm just fanning the pages like this to make sure none of them are sticking. And they are good. And it's not flaking or anything. It's looking very happy. So this one turned out awesome, and I'm loving the shade. I think I got it dead on. It's hard to tell when it's wet, if it's gonna dry to be the color that you want, but I'm really happy that I decided to go with this color. I think that it is the perfect shade to really stand out against the cover itself and to complement it really nicely. All right, so I will see you guys soon.